Greetings to all of you and a hearty welcome to day 7 of our session on Java-based microservices. If you recollect in our yesterday's session, we have spent our time in continuing with our module on circuit breaker, and we saw how you could use Prometheus as your dashboarding option when you start using Spring Cloud Circuit Breaker with Resilience 4J. And once we completed the circuit breaker and Prometheus discussions, we continued our journey with few more advanced microservices topics. One among them was this module on distributed log tracing with Sleuth and Zipkin, right? So if you recollect, we have already started our journey with this module. If you look at the objectives, in yesterday's session, we have looked at the need for log tracing. I've also introduced you to Spring Cloud Sleuth and Zipkin, and we are in the implementation phase now, where we are planning to implement a Sleuth and Zipkin based microservice. Under that, we have completed phase 1. If you recollect, in phase 1, we have set up our regular non-Sleuth, non-Zipkin microservices, where we have created 4 microservices, right? Microservice 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the fourth microservice was actually returning the response. But request chain was created from microservice 1 onwards, right? So microservice 1 was calling microservice 2. Microservice 2 was calling microservice 3. Microservice 3 was calling finally the microservice 4. And once the response is available, in the same format, it used to get returned to the return back to the user. You remember we have completed phase 1, please. Yes, right. Now we have also completed the phase 2 in terms of what steps are involved. We have already completed. If you recollect, in phase 2, we are planning to enable Sleuth in our microservices. And once we enable Sleuth in the microservice, then we will analyze the logs. Yeah. If you recollect, once I enable Sleuth in my microservice, we all know that Sleuth will generate and attach a token. The token will contain details like the app name, the trace ID, span ID, and a few other things, right? Which can be used to identify and trace the entire request flow, isn't it? So to do that, if you recollect, if you want to use Sleuth, step number 1 is in your dependency, in your pom.xml, add the dependency for Spring Cloud Starter Sleuth. So we need to add that. Plus, once we add Sleuth, we know that it will create a token. The token is made up of the app name, trace ID, span ID, and the flag. We have discussed about it. We have also discussed that initially, when you enable Sleuth, by default, the data gets exported, or the span data gets exported to Zipkin. But if you want to turn it off, and assume that initially I don't want to use Zipkin, I'm only planning to enable Sleuth and I want to analyze the log messages. Initially, we can turn the Zipkin off by using this property, spring.zipkin enabled, you can set it as false. Otherwise, usually when you just enable Sleuth, it will think that Zipkin is there and it will automatically try to send the stream of data of span details to Zipkin. So in our application.properties, you can disable it. Yeah. And we also talked that whenever you enable distributed tracing like Sleuth or whatever, you can determine what amount of data you want to send to a centralized log analysis tool like Zipkin, right? So there are 2 options available. One is you can use a sampler called as the always sampler. Always sampler will export all the data and everything that is there. You also have a percentage based sampler which can allow you to export a fixed fraction of spans. But in our case, we want to use always sampler. So I can create a bean entry for it like this, where I set the sampler as the always sampler. Now, once all the steps in phase 2 is completed, we will run all the 4 microservices and then we will analyze the log messages that comes up on your console. Yep. So this is what we will do now. So if you go back, let's first go to microservice 4. And here I plan to use sleuth, right? So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to go to pom.xml file. And in the pom.xml file, the entry was for sleuth was already there. You can see the entry for sleuth was already there, but I had commented it, right? So now what I'm going to do is I will just remove the comment. Now Zipkin is still commented. You can see that Zipkin I've still commented, but sleuth I have enabled. Can you see that, all of you? Yes, right. And so this is step number 1. Ensure that you have the dependency for Spring Cloud Starter Sleuth enabled. So this is available. Then once this is there, let us go to the application.properties. In the application.properties, have a look at line number 3. Yeah. Spring.zipkin.enabled, I am setting to false. Are you all comfortable with this? Yes, right. And the last step is in your main application class, you can set the appropriate sampler. Okay. So here, the code is already there. I'll just enable it. And I will also enable the appropriate import for the sampler. Yeah. There it is. Are you all comfortable with line number 24 to line number 27, please? Yeah. Rest of the code is the same. These are the only 3 extra things that I had to do. Yeah. Are you all with me? Yes. Okay. Once this is ready, we can run this. Okay. Meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll complete this activity in all the 4 microservices. And then we will start all the microservices in one shot. Yeah. So you can see that this dependency has been enabled. Then let me go to the properties file. In the properties file, I will enable this. Then in my main application class, I will enable this import. Plus, I will also enable the bean entry to set my sampler. Yeah. So this is also ready. Same thing I will do for the rest of the 2 microservices. Yeah. Please note, I've still not enabled Zipkin. Yeah, Zipkin is still not enabled. I've just enabled only sleuth now. Yeah. So this is also ready. Let me run the microservice 1. Sleuth is enabled. Let me go to the application properties. Okay. And last one is the application. Let me enable the sampler. So all this is ready. Now we are ready to run each one of them. Yeah. So you can see that the microservice 4 will run on 8094, right? So let me run that. These are all very simple microservices. I've not even enabled them to behave as a Eureka client. So their startup time, etc. also will be quite quick. Yeah. But now that you have enabled sleuth, yeah, you might see some extra things that might come up. So you can see that the Tomcat has started on port 8094 and the microservice has started. Yeah. Let me scroll a little this side. Yeah. Can you see one extra token coming up here? This section. Yeah. At present, it might not show you all the data. We'll come back to it later. But are you able to make out that it is somehow showing the name of the microservice? Yeah. So this is the kind of token format that Sleuth will create. Yeah. We'll come back to it later and see how or what other data it will show. Okay. Similarly, I will start the other microservices as well, please. I am starting microservice 3 now. Yes, it is started. And for this also, you can see there seems to be a token like this. We'll come back to it later. And similarly, let me start the other two microservices, please. Here also, you can see a kind of token is getting kind of generated. But at present, it has only the app name, right? Because it's not really, no requests have been raised now, which is involving communication between multiple microservices. Yeah. So you can see that only the token just contains only the name of the microservice. Yeah. So this microservice also has started. Let's start the last microservice, which is microservice 1. So now you should see that microservice 1 also will start on 8091. And once it starts, yeah, I will access the endpoint to simulate the entire flow. Okay. And then we will come back and analyze the console messages just to see is there any different values that are coming in the token. Yeah. So at present, the token contains only like this, only the name of the microservice. Yeah. But after I access, is there any change? Let's have a look. So I'll come back to this and 8091 and let me make a call to microservice 1 endpoint. Yeah. Now, once I make a call to the microservice 1 endpoint, assuming that all of that is up and running and you should be able to get the final correct output. Have you got the expected output? Yes, but you know, right? In our case, microservice 1 is talking to 2, 2 is talking to 3, 3 is talking to 4, 4 is giving you the response. Again, the response flows in the same direction, right? So now it has worked. But if you look at the console messages for each one of them, for example, if you look at microservice 4 application, look at the token now, guys, all of you. Till here, the token contained only the name. But now, this is how the token comes up. Yeah. First, if you just look at this, First one is the microservice name. What is the second thing here? What is this ID that you see here? This is the trace ID. Yeah, this is the trace ID. First one will be the trace ID, and this one will be the span ID. Yeah, so trace ID for the entire request, it will be the same, but the span ID will be different for different methods and different services, right? So just remember, trace ID here is 2431. It is ending with 2431, just remember. And the span ID is a different value, F5, F1, like this. Yeah. Now, if we just scroll down, nothing great. The moment all the flow happened, it is generating that entire the token. And here I also get the message called inside method 4. So I know that the control has come to method 4 and everything is fine. Yeah. Now, just remember the trace ID 2431. Yeah. Now, let me go to the microservice 3. In microservice 3 also, you should be able to see the appropriate message. Inside, it is inside method 3 and it has successfully received the response. That also is there. But if you scroll this side, look at this, all of you. Are you able to make out the trace ID is the same? Though they are multiple microservice, for the entire request, trace ID will be the same. See, this is the same ID. Yeah, but different span ID, because span ID represents the method and the service. So obviously it will be different, but the trace ID will be different. Okay, sorry, the same. Yeah. So any place wherever it fails. So if at all you push all this data to a centralized logging mechanism, you will be able to make out based on the trace ID and the span ID which microservice was the problem. Yeah. So similarly, if you see, same thing for the others. You can see here for microservice 2 also, same trace ID, but a different span ID. Yeah. And last one is microservice 1. You can see here for this also, trace ID will be the same, but span ID will be different. Guys, are you all with me? Yeah. And this is the starting point. If you look at it, the entire flow, for the entire flow, this acts as the starting point. Did you realize any similarity between the trace ID and the span ID, guys? It is the same, right? Wherever it is starting for the starting guy, the trace ID and the span ID will remain the same. Look at that. So this is how it works. Guys, are you all with me? So obviously, if something fails, assume if something fails, and you see that it shows you the trace ID, it shows you the span ID. So you'll be able to make out that this is pertaining to which microservice and which method, right? So accordingly, you'll be able to make out. Yeah. Team, are you all with me, please? Yes, but in this phase 2, we have just completed phase 2. In phase 2, did we, or in our program, did we use Zipkin, which is a centralized monitoring option that you could use? No, right? We are manually looking at each console and looking at the token, where the token is made up of the trace ID and span ID and other details, right? But usually in a production environment, looking at individual consoles like this might not be really possible. Yeah. So a good option is to use a centralized monitoring option like Zipkin. So what happens is all this microservices, wherever you have enabled Sleuth, they can forward the span details to Zipkin. And in Zipkin is a GUI based monitoring option. And in Zipkin, you will be able to see the entire flow, the span and the other details. Yeah. So that you should be able to see. That is what we are going to set up in phase number 3. So continuing with our implementation, we have completed phase 2. But what are we planning to do in phase 3? Phase 3 is where we are going to set up and start our Zipkin. Yeah. So Zipkin, as I've already mentioned earlier, is a distributed tracing system It's like it gathers the data and the trace ID and the span ID data from individual microservices, and then it will show me all these data in a GUI format. Yeah. So in case in a microservice architecture, you feel that some microservices are not working fine, or it has a broken link. Maybe microservice 1 and 2 is working fine, but microservice 3 is broken, and hence that entire link gets broken. You will be able to troubleshoot and understand all these problems and see and look up for your data. Yeah. So Zipkin is what we are going to use. I will show you how you can download, from where you can download, and how you can start your Zipkin, which is a distributed log tracing server. Yeah. So in our case, these four microservices are ready. We have enabled it already with Sleuth. But what we have to do is, in phase 4, we'll be doing, we will be enabling these microservices to pass their span details to the Zipkin. So microservice 1 will log all the logs with Spring Cloud Sleuth token that will be passed to Zipkin. Similarly for all the microservice, and Zipkin will receive all of that, and using this GUI interface, it will be able to show us the details of it, which becomes much more easier for me to understand and analyze. Yep. So if you want to use Zipkin, very easy. Zipkin is available as a simple executable jar file, and you can download that jar file from this below link. So you can see here. Let me just use this link. So it's available to you through Maven. So if you just access it, you will get a executable jar file. Can you see this? Yeah. You get a executable jar file which gets downloaded for you. Yeah. So Zipkin server. So it's an executable jar file. So if you just look at your download section, you'll have this, okay, download. Yeah. I'll give it a little time to complete the downloading. So you can see that this is the jar file that you get. Yeah. Zipkin server, and this is the jar file. So the same jar file is what I have copied in one of my folder. So let me just go there. So you can see that this is the executable jar file, right? So what I'm going to do is, once I download it, I will go to my command prompt where I can execute the jar file. There it is. So if I do a dir here, this is my executable jar file. Are you all with me, guys? Yeah. So this is what I downloaded. So now I'll just use java-jar and I give the Zipkin jar file name. Yeah. So using java-jar, I'm executing this executable jar for Zipkin. Yeah. So when I run this, so I can say this is the screen of, in a sense, this is the starting of Zipkin. And you can see that this is also, Zipkin also is a Springboot powered app, yeah, which acts as a monitoring, log tracing and monitoring tool. Yeah. So just wait till the startup procedure is run, and you can see that here Zipkin is serving HTTP at the local host 9411. So are you able to see that Zipkin server is running and it's listening on port 9411, please? Yes. Okay. And wait till it starts. So once it starts, you can just minimize this. Once you minimize, now we will open the local host 9411. This is how you can access the Zipkin web interface. Yeah. So you can see that this is the Zipkin UI. You can see that here is where you will be able to find your traces. In your service name, you can specify all or a specific service that you want to trace. In case you want to trace a specific span name, you can do that. Yeah. So here the service name I've selected as all, span name, no specific one. And the loop back, I can decide what should be my period that I want to trace. Yeah. And once I do that, I can click on find traces. Yeah. So when I click on find traces, at present there are no traces, no data is available with Zipkin. So you can see that none of the data is available. Yeah, because none of the microservices are passing the stream data or the span data to Zipkin as yet, isn't it? Yeah. So Zipkin is up, it is ready to listen, but none of the microservices are yet sending any data. Are you all with me, guys? Yeah. So this is the end of phase 3. Nothing great in phase 3. I've just set up and started my Zipkin. Yeah. So I downloaded the executable jar file, then java-jar, and I started. Now once I started, you can see the Zipkin screen opens up, and once it opens up, you will be able to access the Zipkin, which is started on port 9411. And once it is ready, this is the Zipkin dashboard where you'll be able to see your traces, analyze them and all that. Yeah. But at present, no data will be available to you because none of your microservices are sending data to Zipkin. Yeah. So the fourth and the final phase is where we will now start using Zipkin in our microservices. So to use Zipkin in your microservices, there are some steps involved. Very easy. So first and foremost, in your pom.xml, you have to enable the dependency for Spring Cloud Sleuth Zipkin. Yeah, Spring Cloud Sleuth Zipkin. This is the artifact ID to enable Zipkin. So this is step number 1. Plus, you remember earlier in phase 2, after enabling Sleuth, I had I had used this property and I had set Zipkin enabled as false, isn't it? Because I did not want to use Zipkin at that moment. Yeah. But now that we are setting up Zipkin, I want my microservices to send the span data and the trace ID data to Zipkin. So what I'm going to do is I can just remove this property or I can even comment it. Yeah. And now once you have done this, you can run all your microservices, access the endpoint as we did earlier. And now if you access your Zipkin dashboard, you will be able to find all your traces. Click on find traces. You will be able to view the entire log trace for a particular request chain. And here it will look like this. See? When you click on find traces, it is able to make out a trace, the steps involved. You made a call to microservice 1. From microservice 1, it went to microservice. So you make a call to microservice 1. From microservice 1, it went to 2. From 2, 3. 3 to 4. Then 4, the response came back to 3. Then from 3 to 2. Then from here to here. Yeah. So totally 7 spans were involved. Yeah. So you can see that how many seconds it took for your response to come and how many such kind of jumps were involved. And here also you can see what and all services were involved for this particular trace. And each of the microservice, how much of time did it take? All those details you'll be able to see. And when you click on this also, you'll be able to see additional data if you need. Yeah. So this is how you can use Zipkin. Yeah. So before we summarize, we will do phase 4 now. Because we need to do phase 4, I will now stop all the microservices that I've enabled earlier. Because we have to make these changes, right? And I've not enabled dev tools also in these microservices. Yeah. So I have stopped all, I have terminated all the microservices. Now we will do these steps one by one. Yeah. So step number 1 is microservice 4. I'll go to pom.xml. And in pom.xml, you will now also enable the Zipkin dependency, right? Spring Cloud Sleuth Zipkin. So I'll remove this comment so that Zipkin is enabled. Once this is enabled, I will go to my application.properties. In application.properties, I will comment this particular line. Is it okay? I don't want this line anymore, right? By default, Zipkin is enabled. So that should be the default setting. So I don't want this line anymore. I want my programs to send data. to Zipkin. So I will comment it. Okay. So that's it. These are the only two steps that you have to do. Similarly, I will do it for all others. Then finally, we can start each one of them. Yeah. So I am in microservice 3. I'm removing the comment for the Zipkin dependency in the pom.xml. And in my application.properties, I will comment this line. Yeah. Same thing I will do for the other two microservices. Please just give me a minute. Rest of the code remains the same. Absolutely no change. Yeah. Controller, application, all that remains the same. Yeah. Yes. This also is done. Yeah. Somehow I have a feeling that I've missed out something. Okay. So done. This also done. Yeah. So once everything's ready, now we can start. Yeah. Guys, what I could have done is I could have shown this as the first demo, right? But I wanted to purposely take you through the 4 phases of how things change, right? So that you have a fair idea how things look and behave without Sleuth and Zipkin. With only Sleuth, how does it work? Then how do you set up Zipkin? That is phase 3. Then finally, the program, your microservice is enabled with both Sleuth and Zipkin and how it works. Okay. So that's why I have done it in a phased manner. Now we will run each of these apps. Can you see there are some messages telling it is trying to send some data to localhost 9411. Yeah. You remember what is there on 9411? Yeah. What is running on and listening on port 9411? Your Zipkin, right? So you can see that it's going there and it's saying refer to that, go to that Zipkin and see what and all you want to see. So you can see that it is there. Yeah. Similarly, I will run microservice 3 now. So this also is started on 8093. Yep. And let's start the other two now. Yes, this also started. Last, we'll start our microservice one. Okay, so it started. So finally what we'll do is we'll just go here and let me try to access it again. There it is. Is it working fine? Yes, right. And of course, because I've accessed it, the console will have the appropriate details. So I can see that Sleuth has created this token and it has all token, sorry, the trace ID and the span ID. And that's available in all the microservices. Yeah. But the same data now should have got sent to Zipkin. So if I go to Zipkin, I should be able to kind of analyze the data there as well, right? So we have opened Zipkin here. Let me refresh it. Okay. And then here you can see the moment I click on service name. Can you see? Are there any services that it is showing you now, which has sent some data to Zipkin? Yes, right. So earlier it was not there. Now you can see all these microservices have sent the data. Now assume I want to see the details of all the services. Span also I am setting it to all. Yeah, you can set the loop back duration. Okay, all that you can set and just click on. It's already shown. See, it's already shown. If you just click on find traces, it shows you. Same thing. You can see how many number of seconds it took to give you the output, how many spans were involved. And if you just click on this, okay, this span detail, this blue bar, just click on it. When you click on it, it will show you more details. Yeah. Now, for example, see, in this span, where the duration was this, how many services were involved? 4. The depth, how many total spans were there? Yeah. See, for each thing, it is a span. But for example, here you can see how it's giving you total span, because when a request comes, then when the response goes from here, the span is calculated 2 each. For the last one, it just talks, returns back the response, right? This is not going to talk to anything else. Yeah. So the calculation is only 1 for it. That is why it shows 7 spans. Yeah. Like this, into 2, into 2, into 2, and for the last one. And here you can see microservice 1, a get request happened on microservice 1 and how much of time did it take. Microservice 2 also, how much of time. Microservice 3 also, how much of time. So you can see that the timeline, every call did not happen immediately. I made a call to this microservice 1. Microservice 1 in turn made a call to microservice 2. Then 3. Yeah. Then from 3 to 4. Can you see almost 1 second delay is there? Why do you think? See, this entire thing is blank, right? And after 1 second of this, you can see that this has started. Any guesses why this 1 second delay? Between microservice 3 and microservice 4, why there is 1 second delay here? Right. You remember in our code, we have given the thread to sleep. We have asked the thread to sleep for 1000 milliseconds. You remember? Yeah. Let me show you that code. You remember saying in this? Yeah. Before I call microservice 4, I am asking the thread to sleep for 1 second. So you can clearly see that also there is a gap of 1 second from here to here, and then it started. Yeah. See, from here and here it starts. Yeah. So you can look at all these, and you can even click on individual. For example, individual bar, if you click, it will show you more details of it. Yeah. When exactly the date and time when that request, when the client started, when did the server finish, sorry, server start, when did the client finish and server finish, what was the method type, yeah, what was the value, from which controller class it came, which method it came, yeah, which is the client address, all those details it will show. Guys, are you all with me? So that is what it shows. So what do you feel, guys? in huge production environments, especially when there is multiple interactions that happening between multiple microservices. And if you need a kind of distributed log management system and a corresponding dashboarding like this, do you think Sleuth and Zipkin are good products from Spring Cloud that you could use? Yes, right? Again, in your assessment management app also, I am not asking you to implement everything now. Anyway, you guys have started with it. Microservices are created. You have already set up Eureka server and Eureka client, right? Then you might also set up the load balancer. You might also set up circuit breaker, all that. Yeah. Whenever you have time, keep incrementally adding additional things that you have learned. So when you do that, you will have the confidence, and when you are expected to implement same things or certain things like this in your project, you will be more confident to do that. Isn't it, guys? So with this, we come to the end of our log tracing and monitoring with Sleuth and Zipkin. Just to summarize whatever we have done till now. We looked at the need for log tracing. We also introduced you to Spring Cloud, Sleuth and Zipkin. We also saw the implementation in various phases. Initially, we started by setting up regular non-Sleuth, non-Zipkin microservice. So in that case, if you want to analyze the entire flow, you have to individually look at the console messages. But it becomes very difficult for you to pinpoint exactly where some error might have occurred in case. Yeah. But what we did was, so in phase 2, we enable Sleuth, which will create a token. The token will contain trace ID and span ID and your app name. So it becomes very easy for us to track, because trace ID is going to remain the same for the entire request flow, but the span ID will change depending on the method and service. So if something goes wrong, it will become easier for us to analyze and pinpoint which microservice or which method there was something wrong. Yeah. So that is what we enabled, but we enabled only Sleuth in phase 2. We did not enable Zipkin. So in phase 3, we downloaded the Zipkin executable jar file. We started Zipkin. Zipkin was up and listening on port 9411. And once that is ready, last phase. Okay, sorry, why I don't know. I have given phase 4, phase 3 here. Yeah. The last phase, which is phase 4, we enable Zipkin in our microservices, and we analyze the logs, and we analyze the span details and the entire details in Zipkin dashboard. Guys, are you all with me? Yes. So this is one advanced topic that I had to complete. Yeah. There are few more advanced topics which I will start in some time. Yeah. But before I start with that, I had some quiz questions that I wanted to check with all of you. So we will attempt those quiz questions, and then we will move to our next discussion. Yeah. So here are some questions that I jotted down on what we covered yesterday. Yeah. Not entirely, but especially on circuit breaker that we covered. Yeah. Have a look. Come, let's attempt these questions, please. Question 1. Which project of Netflix provides fault tolerance and circuit breaker facilities? Which project of Netflix OSS, let me be clear, provides fault tolerance and circuit breaker facilities? Did we mention which was the product from Netflix OSS? Yep. Yes, just give me a minute. I was not able to see the chat window, so I have just closed it. Yeah. So give me the answer, please. Yes, now I'm able to see the chat window. What is the answer for the first question's first part? Which project of Netflix OSS provides fault tolerance and circuit breaker facilities? Correct. Hystrix. Yeah. But what is the alternative of Hystrix from Spring Cloud? Correct. Spring Cloud Circuit Breaker. It is called Spring Cloud Circuit Breaker with Resilience 4J. Right? With Resilience 4J. Perfect. That's the correct answer. Question number 2, please. What are the different states in which your circuit breakers can be in? Can be in. Yeah. Open, open, close, and yes, half open. You remember there's also an intermediate close called half open. Yeah. So broadly 3 of them. Open, close, and half open. Yeah. Next, when everything is operating normally, what is the state of your circuit breaker? Correct. It is closed, right? When everything is operating normally, the status of the circuit breaker is closed. Yeah. Next, fourth question. What are some of the options available for dashboards with Resilience 4J? What products can you use as dashboard option when you have set up Resilience 4J? Correct. One is Prometheus. Yeah, Prometheus, which we have used in our case. But apart from Prometheus, you can use any other tool. Like I think I mentioned 2 products. New Relic was one product. Grafana was one more product, right? You can use any of those products, but we have used Prometheus. Yep. Then question 5, please. Circuit breakers depend on the dash module to collect the metrics and other details from your app or methods. Correct. It is based or it depends on the actuator module. Perfect. That is the correct answer. Actuator module. Yeah. Question number 6, please. If you are using Prometheus as your dashboarding option, which file should contain the configuration details mentioned? You remember we have to mention about what is the target, yeah? What is the client target? What is the endpoint? All that we have to mention, right? Which is that file where we have to mention all the Prometheus related configuration? I will show you something. You tell me whether it is easy for you to identify. Yeah. Correct. I've already got correct answers. But for people who are wondering, you remember yesterday? Prometheus.yml. This is the YML file that we used. And in this YML file, towards the last, I have given all the details, right? Like this. Yeah. The config, what is my server target? Yeah. What is the job name? Which is the actual actuator metric or the endpoint? Plus, this is my client program. All these details I've given, right? That I have to give in Prometheus.yml. Yeah. Correct. So that is the quiz. Yeah. So thanks for attempting the quiz. And one more important announcement is related to Springboot. Springboot training was conducted by my colleague Gayatri, and she had asked all of you to work on hands-on exercise on Springboot, right? And she had asked you to submit. Obviously, in the reviewer list, you might not have seen her name. So many of you have submitted to me, right? But till now, what I have seen is these are the only people who have submitted to me. Vijay Kumar Mandal, Ankit Kumar, yeah, Sujit, yeah, Bharat, Naresh Ambala, Narayana Swami, Shrikant. Yeah, Shrikant. These are the submissions that I have received. Yeah. Any other person submitted maybe yesterday or early today? This is the Springboot hands-on. Yeah. These are the only people who have submitted it to me. Yeah. Anybody else has submitted to some other reviewer? Anybody else who has submitted to any other reviewers apart from me? I don't see any responses. Similarly, I had given you one Spring Boot codility based assessment. Yeah. So this was Spring Boot plus JPA based codility assessment, right? Codility assessment. So I could see only 3 names here again. Sujit, Naresh and Shrikant. These are the only 3 people's names. I could see that they have completed this codility based assessment also. Yeah. So I will stop sharing. I want to listen to reasons from people. Yeah. Let me, I've enabled participants to unmute themselves, please. Yeah. So go ahead. What reasons others have? In a batch of 26 people who are attending on a daily basis from UHG account, how come we receive only around 7 things or 7 submissions for hands-on and just 3 people are able to find time to do the Springboot codility based assessment? Why not the others?
Hi, Sarita. Good morning.
Good morning, Yogesh.
Yeah, yes. I will submit it today due to my laptop issue. So I'm joining with my personal laptop now. So
Okay.
I have repeating all this work in my personal laptop.
Hmm.
So that Wipro laptop keyboard is not working.
Yeah, you told me. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. So yes, Yogesh has a valid point. Yeah. What about others?
Yeah, Sarita, this Kalyan as well because
Ah,
I also miss issue because I raised a ticket for new laptop.
hmm.
They said means they said this Thursday or Friday means I need to visit means I'm visiting the office. Means they said
Okay.
to come this Friday or means Thursday or Friday because
Okay.
I raised a ticket for a new laptop because
No,
I'm
that's okay. That's okay, Kalyan. But assume if they are going to give you the laptop after 1 month, do you think all the other tasks can wait? That is my only worry. Hmm?
no in
Because
my
like,
personal laptop it is
hmm,
Sarita. Actually, main problem is like in my personal laptop Teams also I'm unable to log in from
hmm.
from
Correct,
the
correct. It will not allow you because of the security. It will not allow. Yeah.
That's why because I'm unable to access the means links as well. In
Hmm.
Teams, if you'll copy the link and send a mail, because it will copy in only Teams only, which
Hmm.
means for external, it will means we can't able to
Hmm.
paste external.
Correct, correct. Yeah, I
Internal
understand.
I'm facing. That's it also.
Hmm. Okay, fine. Okay, so Yogesh and Kalyan have valid reasons. What about others? Shubhadeep,
Yeah.
I don't see your name anywhere here.
Hello. Am I
Yes,
audible?
please.
So
Yes, you
the
are.
thing is that for H2 database, I had raised one request for it's like 1 week, but they couldn't have given me.
For
So
what? For what?
to
For
install
what?
the H2 DB
Why you need to install H2, Shubhadeep? H2 is a
for the
in-memory
entire thing.
database. No,
Uh,
no. If you are using H2, absolutely no installations are required. That is why we are suggesting you to use H2. H2 is a in-memory database, Shubhadeep. No other
yes, yes.
installations are required. So why are you
I
waiting for
understand.
it?
No.
Hmm.
There is another option for server. So for that I was waiting.
Now, why is my question? See, for any lab, Shubhadeep, what happens is
Hmm.
there are 100 things that you can do, right?
Yes.
Now, for example, if you look at the SLA from the team, they are saying they will take 1 week to give it to you. Then you have to install, and if assume everything is working fine, then you will start working. By then, this entire training will be over, isn't it, Shubhadeep? Yeah.
Uh,
Why we
so the
asked you
thing
to
is
use
that
H2 is
yes.
hmm,
Because it's an in-memory database, right? So that is
ah.
yeah.
So
So
why
for
are you
that,
dependent is what I'm asking you. Yeah, all
So
others who are used,
yes.
see here, Shubhadeep, all these guys have done, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
not installed H2. H2 installation itself is not required. H2 database is in-memory database, and
Mm-hmm.
you can use it in your app directly. You just have to add the dependency in your Spring Boot app. And in the properties, if you set the console value, automatically you will be able to access, isn't it? That is what you have learned in the training.
Yes, that is a how also we can do.
Hmm.
So for this one, the Spring Boot JPA codility based assessment. So
Hmm.
is it the the assessment that is it about that project that you given in we have downloaded as the like the Word file? Is it the same thing that you are asking?
It is not. Otherwise, I would have put everything together, no, Shubhadeep. There
Ah,
are two different things. Yeah.
okay.
See, this is the Spring Boot hands-on that Gayatri had asked you to do. Yeah.
Okay, so this is complete, but I do not know like where to submit. So I will submit it today.
How others have submitted. Please
I
follow the
understand.
steps that has been given by Gayatri. This
Yes,
also I
yes.
have shared the details about the Spring Boot assessment in the general channel of the MS team. Go through it
Okay.
and please submit all the details correctly. Yeah. Why did we create, not only for Shubhadeep, I'm asking everybody else. Why did we create the MS team? For collaboration, right? Because for every small thing, I don't have time to send all of you a mail and stuff like that. That is why I'm putting all the messages in the MS team. And in the MS team, I have given you all these details, isn't it? Yeah. So let me show you in the Teams. Hopefully my Teams is visible. So here in the general tab, yeah. So this is the assessment details. Yeah. And here in microservices, yeah, in Spring Boot, yeah, this is some, yeah. Look at this, all of you. Yeah. In the general tab, I have clearly told this is the link. It is open from 8th. Multiple attempts are possible, all that. Yeah. Now I have removed that end date also. I have kept it open. Yeah. And out of 26 people who are attending this training, only 3 people have taken it up. Yeah. I want all of you to complete this activity immediately, even before you guys come for the afternoon session. Yeah. Because it is very evident that whenever we give you extra time, people are just taking it very lightly. Yeah. Whatever we are telling you, whatever we are asking you to do, none of you are doing. Maybe only 10% people are doing. Yeah. And though I am not wanting to compare with gender based comparison, yeah, all the guys who have spent their time and efforts are only names of the guys. Where are the ladies? Yeah. What issues you guys have? Yeah. Let me hear from the participants, please. Yeah. Deepthi, Kavita, Monica, Swati, Vidya. What is your issues? Please unmute and talk, please.
Hi Savita, this is Monica.
Yes, Monica.
Yeah, I have attempted that Spring Boot JPA Codility assessment,
Hmm.
but I didn't score in that. But because I'm getting one error regarding to Mav and E-switch like that.
Have you tried in a different browser? You should not get any
Yeah,
Maven
in personal
problems.
laptop.
See,
In my office laptop, I have tried.
yeah, try with a different browser if you have tried with this. Okay, no issues.
Okay.
Even if you are getting any Maven issues and all should never come. They are asking you only to put the regular code for your model class and your controller and the service, right? Everything
Yeah.
else internally is handled by Codility.
Okay.
Okay, so it is running fine. If you are not scoring, that is why I've enabled it with multiple attempts. I want you to try it multiple times. See what is the error, what test cases have not passed, understand the requirement correctly, and then try to apply.
Okay, Savita. And I have completed that Springboot hands-on. I will submit today by afternoon.
Yes, please, you have to. Okay, don't expect
Okay.
the trainer to keep reminding. Yeah, because we can do
Okay, sir.
many other best things, right? I don't want to sit
Yeah.
here with one stick and say, Monica, why did you do it? Vidya, when are you doing it? I don't want to do that. Yeah, but I
Okay,
want
sir.
all of you to attempt it with see, all of you are the team has told me that all of you are available for the entire day. That is why we have planned the entire training, right? Apart from
Okay.
learning, you don't have any other task. Yeah, imagine Wipro is giving you such a wonderful learning hours. Utilize that. Yeah, Vidya, Swati, what are your reasons?
Hi, Savita. Good morning.
Good morning. Who's
Um,
this?
yeah, this is Swati.
Swati.
Yeah, for the hands-on assignment, I have selected the auto assignment in the option. So
That is
it's been
okay.
assigned to
Hmm.
Venkata Chakradhar. The project is assigned to him for the review.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's
and for
okay.
codility test, it's
When
still pending with me.
okay, so when Venkata Chakradhar completes the review, okay, and from VLearn you get a mail about the closure or whatever, please share it with me on the mail so that I can update my tracker. Yeah.
Sure.
Ah. And Codility based, you said you did not get time to do that. Yeah. So I want you to pick up
Yes,
time
it's still
today.
pending. Yeah.
Hmm? Pick up time
Yeah,
today
sure. I'll
and please
complete it today.
complete it. Hmm? Yeah. Vidya, please unmute yourself. I can't hear anything from Vidya. Vidya, are you part of your of this training? Okay. So I can't hear anything from Vidya. Yeah. So please, guys, don't expect us to keep coming back and checking with you. If a task has been given to you, you have to do that task. That's all is the requirement. Very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Satya.
Yes, Satya.
Yeah, I submitted the codility and the Springboot hands-on is an auto submit, which like the person is Chakravarti.
Okay. Chakravarti or Venkata Chakradhar?
Not Chakravarti.
Chakravarti. Okay. Okay. And what about this Codility based? When did
Yes,
you complete
I
it?
have not scored, but it's complete. It's submitted already one time.
Yeah, it is submitted, but if your score is not greater than 70, your
Ha,
name will not come here. Yeah.
okay.
So multiple attempts are possible. I've opened it. It is still in open state. I will probably close it by tomorrow. Okay. I can't keep opening it till whatever time, till infinity. I will open it till tomorrow. I want all of you to complete it. Is that okay, all of you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the time. Okay, just to share the update and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, so Shubhadeep, in MS Team itself, in the Spring Boot channel, there is a discussion of okay how okay the MCQ link, and here again for submission you just have to access this LP58, and in that LP58 itself there will be submission steps. So go ahead and share the submission steps. Yeah, any other team member, if you guys have the steps that are suggested by Gayatri, you can put it here so that it will help people. Yeah.
Okay, for the LP50 that I have actually, but for this hands-on, for the microservice hands-on, where should I put it?
Microservice hands-on?
Yes, yes.
Have you completed the entire hands-on?
Yes, yes.
Load balancer is completed?
Yes, yes, yes.
Circuit breaker is completed?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Everything
then
is
I
done.
will share. I will share the details of how you can submit it to me. I will
Okay,
upload it in this MS team. Yeah. So the
okay,
steps under microservices, I will upload. Yeah. So under
okay,
this
okay.
file section, I will upload one document which contains steps to submit the microservice assignment. Okay, that you can follow. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so now that we have completed the updates and we have also completed one main topic of discussion, the important discussion is what did you guys do in the afternoon yesterday? Yeah. So let me ask some people what they have done. Yeah. So Suraj, can you tell me what did you
Yeah.
do in the afternoon yesterday, Suraj?
Yesterday, ma'am, I have tried the that microservices hands-on, and I was trying the assignment number 5. I have doubt, so I have contact one of this teammate Ankit. So he helped me in that to resolving that. So I was submitting that assignment.
Uh,
So due to connectivity, no, I was not able to upload the assignment on OneDrive. So I was going to my friend's home so I can connect to the Wi-Fi and I will upload that. So I have done that yesterday.
but was that the plan?
No, that was not
What was
planned.
the
Yes,
plan?
I will.
Huh?
Yeah,
So what
I
was the
will.
plan yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday's plan was that we have to complete that self-learn videos about
Correct.
the what are the topic was shared. So I will complete that today. So
Correct. So now
yeah,
you understand, Suraj. Whenever you lag behind, okay, there will be more things that you might have to do, isn't
yes.
it? Okay, so please buck up and catch up. Yeah.
Sure.
I don't see your name in Codility also. Okay, complete all that
Yeah,
before.
I have
Uh,
tried that, but yes,
yeah.
not able to score.
Yeah, you have to because nothing is tough there. If you are aware of the Springboot JPA program that Gayatri has covered, she might have also given you the programs that are there. If you know it better, easily you will be able to score the Codility one, isn't it? Yeah. People who have already completed, can you guys give some, not the solution, but the tips, Sujit? Sujit, any tips you can give others how you
Uh,
approach that codility?
yes, they like all the database configuration is completed. Means already database is pre-configured in the question itself. All we need to do is like we need to. There is only one class, that is a solution class, and we need to write our solution over there. All we need to do is like use the JPA. Sorry, JPA repository class to save the one person class in the database. That's all we need to do. All we need to do. But before
Correct,
that, we need to check all. There are 5 scenarios that needs to be completed. When we run the program, it will show 5 test cases, and if it's okay for all, then it's good. Otherwise, if there is an error, we need to resolve that error. Yeah, that's it. It's a very easy test.
correct. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And guys, one thing is, please remember that the question that is given to you, the expectation that is given to you, you read it very carefully. What is the expectation? What should be the name of the properties? They have clearly given there. Look at it and then very carefully try to attempt it. Okay. Thanks, Sujat. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, Sagar, what did you do yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, hi, Savita. So I was on sick leave, so I missed a few sessions. So I was going through the recording session of the microservices.
Okay.
And
Have you kept me or Deepthi or anybody in your UHG team informed about your leave?
yes, Savita, I had dropped an email to my L1 manager. Yeah.
Only L1 manager.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But
It
how
was
will we
sick leave,
know?
so yeah, I just informed to my L1 manager.
Okay, you have to inform us also. I think that was made clear in the initial discussions with this training, right? Remember, initially
Yes.
Deepthi came and clearly mentioned what and all we are supposed to do. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But yeah, sorry, I forgot that to loop you in the mail.
Yeah. Okay. So Naresh Piata, what did you do in the afternoon yesterday? Naresh Piata, can you unmute yourself, please? I can't hear anything. So Jansi, what did you do in the afternoon yesterday? Yes, Jansi, go ahead. We can't hear anything from Jansi. Fine, but Jansi, you have not been taking up the training, you have not attended or completed hands-on nor codility, and yesterday you have not done any reading. Yeah. So are you keeping people in loop? Are you informing about all this onboarding process, etc. with Deepthi? No, we can't hear anything from you. Guys, please keep us in loop. Otherwise, how will we know? Yeah. Have you kept people in loop? Jansi, have you kept Raj Kishore or at least Rajesh or Deepthi or me in loop as to what's happening with you and what are you doing? Otherwise, how will we know? We have been told that all of you are available for the training for the entire period. Yeah. And we can't keep coming and asking you one by one like how I'm doing now, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So that's it, guys. Please remember, I have already shared. Okay, let me ask you this way. How many of you completed the Spring Cloud config server and the API gateway e-learning that I had shared in the MS Team yesterday? That was the plan for yesterday afternoon. How many of you have completed at least Spring config server and Spring config client? Give me an update on the chat window. How many of you have completed at least config server and config client? Yeah. Okay. Ankit says config server done. Yeah. Vijay also says yes. Please remember, guys, the recordings I've shared, total duration of the 3 recordings. I've shared 3 recordings. Total duration of all the 3 recordings is around 3 hours. 3 point some hours. Right? You have to plan. Yeah. See, if you had a WebEx session with us, you will be with us for 2.5 hours, right? Exactly the same way I have shared 3-hour recordings with you. I've also shared the corresponding programs with you. Yeah. So I can see a countable number of people who are doing their tasks, who have gone through it. Yeah. So I am not going to share any learnings or any extra learnings today. Yeah, I want you guys to finish all the e-learnings that I have shared yesterday itself. Tomorrow when you guys come in, I want all of you to complete the config server, config client, and the API gateway, and which details I've already shared yesterday. Is that okay with all of you? Yeah. Okay. See, if somebody gives you a task that and they ask you to do, they're also trusting you to do it, right? So when I shared all the details, yeah, for me also it takes some efforts, right? I have to find the correct learning, I have to share the correct learning, and any other demo programs etc that are there, that also I've shared it with you because I trust that you guys will do it, isn't it? Yeah. But out of 26 people, only 4 people, 5 people are saying they have done it, and that too partially. Yeah, that's not a good sign, please. Yeah. I want all of you to complete all the 3 recordings before you come in for the morning session tomorrow. Is that okay? Is it a fair ask? Ah, great. So, great. So it's time for us to take a break. Please take a break and come back. Once you come back, I will start with the next module discussion. That will be on course. Yeah. So take a break, come back, please. So we'll decide when we are coming back. It's 11:20 now. You can take a 15-minute break, come back at 11:35 and we can continue. So welcome back. The second module under the advanced microservices topics that we'll be dealing with is a module on cross-origin resource sharing. In short form, we call it as CORS. So we will try to understand what do you mean by CORS, what do you mean by cross-origin resource sharing, and what is the default setting, how do you enable CORS, all that we will discuss. And pertaining to it, I also have demo programs that I will demonstrate. Yeah. So let me introduce you to the objectives that we'll be covering in this chapter. We will understand what is CORS. We will first look at a scenario without CORS. So if you don't enable cross-origin request sharing, resource sharing, how does it behave? What kind of errors you might get? So we will see a scenario without CORS. And once you are aware and you want to enable CORS, you can enable CORS at either an individual method level, or you want to enable CORS at the entire controller level, or you want to also enable CORS settings at the global level, which is the application level. How do you do all these? That is what we will deal with. Yeah. So first, let's understand what do you mean by CORS. CORS stands for cross-origin resource sharing. It is a HTTP header-based mechanism that allows a server to indicate any origins. When I say origin, it is a combination of scheme, domain, or port. And it can enable or indicate, or the server program can indicate which origins should it permit to access its resource. Yeah. So I will read this again. Cross-origin resource sharing, or CORS, is a HTTP header-based mechanism that allows a server. So there's no role that is played by the client here. It allows a server to indicate any origins other than its own from which a browser should permit loading the resources. Yeah. So just to tell you when it might be useful, look at this example. I have a web document here. Yeah. So first look at this. This entire thing is a web document. And we have 2 web servers. This web document also belongs to the same domain called domain.a.com. You have a web server which also belongs to domain.a.com. You have a web server which belongs to domain.b.com. And now you have a web document which is very much part of domain A. But in this web document, assume we are using an image. This image also and the corresponding CSS files or whatever, they are getting access from a web server which also belongs to domain A. That means the web document also belongs to domain A. The web server which is providing these resources also belongs to the domain A. That means these are the same origin requests. They belong to the same origin. As I told you, origin is a combination of scheme, domain, and port. So if they are part of the same domain, obviously it is called a same origin request and it is always allowed. But assume in my web document, I want to use some image. But this image I am trying to access from a different web server belonging to a different domain. See, this web server is having all these resources, but this web server belongs to domain B. So a web document belonging to domain A is trying to access a resource that is coming from a web server which is belonging to a different domain, right? So this is called as a cross origin request. Cross origin requests are by default disabled, but of course this can be controlled by enabling your CORS. And where should you enable it? It has to be enabled at the server point. So assuming that these are the providers. So this is a server which is providing the service and this is the client which is accessing that service, right? So any CORS implementation or CORS configuration has to be done at the server level. Team, are you all with me? So let's look at a scenario. I'll anyway be demonstrating it. First, let me complete the entire theory and then finally I will demonstrate this program. Yeah. Assume we have one server API running on port 8090. So a very simple Spring Boot application. Assume it is just returning some greeting message and it is running on localhost 8090. So this is my server program. Yeah. And inside this server program, assume it supports a GET request on an endpoint called hello. Whenever people make a GET request on this endpoint called hello, it returns a hello greeting message. Yeah, right? So this is my server program, right? Now, assume I've created a client program. And the client program also is a Spring Boot app. But this client program has been configured to run on a different port, 8091. So this is the origin of the server and this is the origin of the client. Yeah. So from this client which is running on localhost 8091, it tries to make a GET request through a AJAX call. So assume in this program I'm trying to make a GET request and I'm trying to make a AJAX call by using this URL. Yeah. I'm not making a REST template call. Of course, REST template, using REST template, you can anyway make calls to your endpoints. But in my program, assume I'm making a AJAX call and I try to make a call on this. Yeah. By default, as I told you, by default, cross origin requests are not enabled by default. And if you have not enabled any CORS for your server program, do you think this, when the client tries to make a request, okay, to this, do you think this should work or this should give me an error? From the client which is running on 8091, it is trying to make a AJAX call and it is trying to make a call on a server URL like this. Do you think it should work or it should not work? You should get an error, which is a CORS error, right? So of course you'll get a CORS error and the CORS error might look like this. See, cross origin request blocked. The same origin policy disallows reading the remote resource at so and so. And if you look at the reason will clearly say CORS header access control allow origin is missing. So the server program has not done any enablement for the cross origin request. So you will get this error, cross origin request blocked. Yeah. But as I told you, in case you want to allow, the enablement has to happen on the server side. So in the server side program, I will have to do the enablement. How? Look at this. There are various ways of enabling CORS. Enabling CORS is very simple. You can use one CORS based annotation called as cross origin. So @cross origin is the annotation that you will use to control and enable CORS. So what you will do is you will go to your controller class. If you look at this code, this is a very simple Spring Boot app where I have my controller. In my controller, you can see this method called getName. So this getName method, when I call, it is just returning this greeting message, right? Now look at this. Apart from a regular controller and REST controller annotation, get mapping and all that, you can see here, I've used the annotation called @cross origin, and within parenthesis, using the property called origins, I supply the entire URL of the client. So I can specify the specific client URL which will be allowed to access this. So using @cross origin, and I'm using it on the method level, right? So you can see right in front of this method, I'm using @cross origin, and using origins, I'm saying this is what I'm going to allow. So any request coming from this particular origin, any client request coming from this particular origin, I am ready to accept it or allow it. So this is how you can enable CORS at the method level. Guys, are you all with me? Yeah. Same thing you can do. There are other ways of enabling CORS also. Yeah. Can you look at this code and tell me what I have done here and how is it different from the previous slide that I showed you? Go through it carefully and tell me. Yes, this is on the controller level itself. On the entire controller level, I have enabled cross origin. That means within this controller, if there are multiple methods, of course, a controller class can have multiple methods, right? So this cross origin setting will be applicable for all the methods inside that controller. Yeah. So you can, of course, use it on the controller level also. This is also one option. Yeah. Next, you can also enable CORS. Yeah. Like this also. Same thing almost. But can you look at this? What do you think is the meaning of this? It is enabled for all domains. Yeah, not all requests. All requests will anyway be based on what individual method request is done. Right? This one. But using cross origin, and origins is equal to star. Star is a wildcard character, right? Means all. So instead of allowing one single or a particular origin or a domain, here when I use a star, which is an asterisk, yeah, it means this hello controller or this data controller methods, whatever is there, that is allowed for all domains. Yeah, like this. Guys, are you all with me? And you can also enable CORS at a global level. When I say global level enablement, on the entire application level also you can enable it. Yeah. So in this code snippet, what we are trying to do is the server program, we are making the entire application request, not restricted to only one controller specifically. All the controllers, all the endpoints available in the entire app, I want to open it and I want to enable CORS for it. So how will I do? In my data controller or maybe in my main app, I will have a bean entry. So in the bean entry, can you see that I'm creating an object of web MVC configurer? Yeah. What is this method configurer doing? It is returning an object or a bean of type web MVC configurer. So inside this configurer method, I am creating a new object of web MVC configurer. Within this web MVC configurer, I will override a method called add course mapping. So I will get a course registry object, and in using this registry object, I can do something like this. So I'm using a method called add mapping, and I will say star. That means what? For all the endpoints in my app, when I'm enabling /star, that means on the root URL, any other endpoints are there. For all the mappings, I allowed origins are what? This is the origin that I'm allowing. Guys, are you all with me? Yeah. So any request coming from this origin, they can access all the endpoints that are available. That is the meaning. Yeah. So this is at a global level and the entire application level. Right. So this also you can do. Guys, are you all with me? So that is the very simple module. But before I summarize, let's look at the code, please. Yeah. So for the code, I have the course programs ready. I will just import it here. Meanwhile, let me stop all the previous log tracing apps. Yeah. I don't want these apps anymore. So I will just terminate them, and I will also delete them from the Project Explorer. Yeah. Of course, these projects will be available in my workspace. Whenever I want, I can reopen them. But for now, I don't want it to be present here. I'll just delete them. So now let me import the course server program and the course client program just for demonstration purpose. Yeah. So this is the course server API. So let me import this first. Similarly, I will also import the course client. So you see that it is importing these projects, and now we'll be able to analyze them. Yeah. So first let's analyze the course server program. Okay. As I told you, this is a very simple Spring Boot application. Yeah. Of course, in our case, it could be even a microservice for that matter. But nevertheless, this is course. So just let's have a look at the pom.xml file. Yeah. So have a look at this, please. Which version of Spring Boot am I using here in this app? Correct, 2.6.7. Yeah. And which version of Java am I using in this app? 1.8, right? And have a look at the dependencies, please. Are you able to make out the only important dependency is the web dependency? Yeah, and test dependency is anyway by default provided to you, and Spring Boot Maven plugin is anyway there. Yeah, a regular simple Spring Boot app. Yeah. Now, let's have a look at the application.properties. Yeah, have a look at this. My server program, when I run, are you able to make out that it will listen on port 8090, please? Yes, right. Now let's look at the controller or the main application. Let's look at the main application class. Anything great about this application runnable class, please go through it and tell me. Nothing great, right? A regular Springboot app, yeah, which has a public static void main and it is getting bootstrapped, right? Now let's look at the controller. I'm calling it as data controller. Yeah. What I'll do is initially, let me not use any cross origin setups. Yeah. I have commented cross origin enablement. So I have not done any enablement at this juncture. Yeah. Have a look at this, please, all of you. Are you able to make out that it looks like a regular REST controller? Yeah. And it has only one method. And whenever it receives a get request from on/hello, this method will be called. And this method does this, right? It just returns this string. Yeah. That's it. Now, once this is ready, let us run this app. So you can see it started. Let us try to directly access it. Zipkin, right? One minute, guys. So Zipkin is stopped. Okay, now we will try to access it. Localhost 8090 and hello, right? So if I directly try to access it from the browser, it is still working. Yeah. This is not cross origin, right? The browser is directly trying to access it. Guys, are you all with me? Do you think your server program is working fine? Yes, but the problem will arise when a client program is trying to access this and trying to make a Ajax call, right? So let's see what happens. Yeah. So I'm keeping the server program up and running. Now let me show you the client program. Client program also is a Spring Boot program. So let me show you the pom.xml file, please. Have a look. So it is the same program, almost 2.6.7 Spring Boot version, 1.8 Java version. And now, just by looking at the dependencies, are you kind of getting a hint? What view technology am I using in my program? What is the view resolver engine are we planning to use? Correct, TimeLeaf, right? So I have the regular web dependency. Plus, because I'm wanting to create a view using TimeLeaf, I've also added TimeLeaf dependency. Yeah? What is the default folder where the TimeLeaf related views should be present? Correct, under the templates folder, right? Now you can see here that I have the templates folder, and under the templates folder, I have an index page. Yeah. But before I show you the index page, let's look at application.properties. Yeah. Have a look at this, please. So can you make out this program is going to act as a client? In the client is running on which port? 8091, right? So this is running on 8091, but please remember the server is running on 8090. So from here, if I'm trying to make a Ajax call to 8091, if the course is not enabled, obviously there should be some error, right? But anyway, this is where the port number is mentioned. Now I will show you the index page, but before that, let us look at the other code. Yeah, let's look at the main application class. Look at this. Any change in the application class, please? No, it's the same, right? Let's look at the controller. Controller also should be very easy. Have a look. Go through the code. I'm sure you are able to understand. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see here that the controller is annotated with @controller. I'm sure all of you are aware. When you annotate your controller class with @controller, what is the hint that you get? Will the methods return data or will the method return view? Right, it will return a view, right? So here, when somebody accesses this client and they access the main root URL, this get method will be called, and in get data method, I'm returning the logical view name called index. Yeah. So index here is the logical view name, which will get mapped to the physical view name index.html under the templates folder. Guys, are you all with me? Yes, right. Now, what is the last thing that we will have to check now? Almost everything is done. What do we have to analyze now? Index page, right? So let's look at the index page. Yeah. Many of you are in a hurry. Yeah. Am I not showing you all that is required? Yeah. When I'm discussing the controller, Shubhadeep wants to immediately look at the index.html. Will I not show you in Shubhadeep? Yeah. That is a main code, right? Where I'm making a Ajax call. So don't worry. Yeah. I also want to check out whether you guys are cool with the controller. So here is the index page, guys. Yeah. Just go through the index page, then we'll have a discussion. Give me a minute. Yeah. Can you please have a look at line number 8 and line number 9? And are you all able to make out that in this program, I am using a JavaScript library called jQuery? Are you able to make out? Yeah, because I'm planning to use jQuery to make the Ajax call. So you can see that I am using this JavaScript library called jQuery. And to access the jQuery library, I am using the Google CDN path. So using the script src, I am giving the entire CDN path of jQuery.min.js from the Google API CDN. Yeah. So this is what I have included. Plus, are you able to make out that on line number 10, I am also including my own JavaScript library or the JavaScript file called home.js? Yeah. Yes, right? So I will show you home.js also, don't worry. So this I have included home.js as well. Yeah. Now this is in the body, you have a regular div. The div, internally in the div, I have a button. Button says, button has an ID called hello. And this is the type of the button, and I have say hello. Now, this is a button, plus I also have a heading 1. The ID of the heading 1 is response. And initially, before I make the call, I am having one default message. Response from the server will be populated here. Okay. And there is also a button. That's all is there. So you can see that in the HTML, you will only have a button called say hello. plus there is a heading 1. In the heading 1, whose ID is response, you have this initial detail. Yeah. Now we will look at home.js to understand what we are trying to do there. So home.js should be present under the static folder. So in my case, I've kept it under this static folder. This is home.js. Yeah. Have a look. Yeah. Of course, it's not necessary that you have to know jQuery. But if you know basics of JavaScript also, you will roughly know what is happening here. Okay. But anyway, just go through it and then I will explain this. Yeah. Just go through the code, please. So this is the jQuery code. In jQuery code, what I have done is, in jQuery, when the document is ready, so when the entire document is fully loaded and when it is ready, I am calling a function. So according to this function, you can see here, I am accessing the element which has an ID called hello. So using dollar within parenthesis, I supply the ID. So anything starting with hash means I'm planning to catch hold of the element which has the ID called hello. So in my example in the index page, which is the element which has the ID called hello, guys? Look at the body part. Yeah. The button, right? So you can see that the button's ID is hello. So what is the meaning of this? It means when I select the button, when somebody clicks on the button, this function will be called. So the function will receive an event object. Using the event object, you can prevent default. Some default behaviors will be there, but I don't want any such default behaviors to occur. So I can just say prevent default. When somebody clicks on this button, don't do your regular whatever are the other tasks. Just call this method or the function called Ajax get. Where is this Ajax get function here? And in this Ajax get function, again using the jQuery object of dollar, I am making a Ajax call. I'm sure all of you are aware. Ajax stands for asynchronous JavaScript and XML. This is internally powered by a JavaScript object called XHR object, which is usually used to make a asynchronous call. So in jQuery, there is a function available called Ajax, which can be easily used to make your Ajax call. So using this Ajax function takes certain arguments. One is, what is the URL on which I want to make this call? I want to make this call on HTTP localhost 8090 and I want to make a call on hello. Yeah. And so it will make a Ajax call on this. If it is successful, if the call is successful, and assume that I get a result, if it is successful, the success will happen. So according to success, this function will be called. The function will receive the response from this. Whatever response will be available, that will be passed to this function. And here I am catching hold of that element with the ID called response. So here, can you see which is the ID whose ID is response? Correct, the H1, right? So whatever result has come up, I'm catching all of the response and I'm changing the inner HTML content of that response, and whatever result I got or response I got, that is what I'll paste it here. That is the whole idea. Team, are you all with me? So we are almost ready. But when I run this and when I try this, what is the expected output, guys? Your server program is up and running. The server program has not enabled any CORS. right? No CORS enablement has happened. And now we are trying to make a call from another program. We are trying to make a Ajax call, which is running on a different domain or a different origin. So what do you feel, guys? Do you think this program should work? No, right? It should give an error, right? So let us run it. Yeah. Mahendra Kumar. Yeah. You are saying when I ask whether this program should work, you are saying yes. Yeah. So let's look at the console. I'm just waiting for this program to be up. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Okay, so you can see this program also is up, and let me access this program. 8091, right? I will access the main root because the index page should get shown now. This is the index page. Are you all able to see? Yeah. And in the index page, there is this button. And here is the H1 where the result should be populated here. But when I click on this button called say hello, yeah, it's not changing, right? It's not changing here. But just to see, right click on it. There's an option called inspect. When you inspect, it will open up the developer window. In the developer window, you will be able to see your console. Yeah. In the console, can you all see what error has occurred? Yeah. Access to XML HTTP request. So XML HTTP request is an Ajax request. Yeah. Access to XML HTTP request at localhost 8090 hello from origin localhost 8091 has been blocked by CORS policy. No access control allow origin header is present in the requested resource. So this was the expected output. Isn't it, guys? Yeah. So error is the expected output now. Yeah. So I'll just put it here. This was the error. Team, are you all with me? Was this expected? Yes, right? Now what I'm going to do is I am just going to go back to my server app. Yeah, because I've not enabled DevTools, I'll just stop my server app. This is my server API, right? So I'll just stop it. And client, let it run, not a problem. In the server program, we will just enable CORS. Yeah. So here, I'll just go to controller. In the controller, okay, I can enable this. So do you think this should be fine, guys? All of you? I have only one method. So I am enabling at the method level. Same thing you could have done even on the entire controller level, or you could have created a configuration class which enables at the global level. But just to keep it simple, here I've enabled it at this method level. Yeah. But if I had another method, for example, assume in my case, this is available under hello, right? Assume I have another endpoint called city. Yeah. And for this, I'm not going to use. Yeah. I'll say get city. Here, okay, I am going to have some returning some city or whatever, right? Now, in this example, do you think the cross origin enablement has happened to this method? I'm not calling this method, but I've not done that, right? Yeah. So obviously through the client program, if you call this, obviously you'll get the same error because it is not enabled. Yeah. Here I've enabled here with cross origin, but this enablement will only happen for this particular method. Yeah. But if you wanted this to be enabled for all the methods in this controller, you should have added this at the controller class level itself, right? Somewhere here you should have added. Okay. Sorry. This entire thing you should have added here, isn't it, guys? Yeah. So that way, anyway, we are aware. Yeah. So let me just keep it simple. Now I've enabled there's only one method. So you can see that cross origin is enabled at the method. Yeah. Let's now once this is ready, let's have a look at 1 minute. Here only. You can see that this @cross origin annotation is available from Spring Framework web itself. Yeah. So you can see framework.web bind annotation cross origin. Yeah. So cross origin support is available through this import. Yeah. So that's it. We are ready. Now let us run this app. So yes, it is started, and now we will just try to access that directly just to see whether it's working. Yes, that's working fine. But in our course example, let me refresh this. Yeah, let me call this method. What's happening, guys? Is it working? Yes, it is working. Is it? Yeah. So do you think such kind of settings for course, etc., might be useful when you are building a huge enterprise application, guys? Yes, right? So let me give you an example. From Wednesday onwards, sorry, from Thursday onwards, which is the training that all of you will be attending with me and Saigita? From Thursday onwards, what is the plan? Correct. All of you will be attending Angular. So usually nowadays, whenever people are building a huge enterprise application, the front end will be a Angular based app. The back end would be a Springboot based app. Okay, microservices or a 3-tier app, whatever. Yeah. Now assume in my case, the back end, which is a Springboot app, assume it is running on 8090. Yeah. And assume the Angular app also runs on a different port. Yeah. Assume it is running on port 8000. I'm just taking an example. Yeah. Now, in this example, all front-end components are part of Angular. From the front end, which is Angular, it is going to make a call to your back-end endpoints. So do you think this is a cross origin request that is coming from Angular to your backend? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So how will you enable? Where do you have to enable it? Yeah. Do I have to do anything in the front end? Not really. If you want that to be enabled, you have to do it in the backend. And in the backend, you have to use the CORS policies and you have to enable CORS here. Guys, are you all with me? Yes, right. So, of course, this is helpful in a production environment. Yeah? So, that is the topic on CORS, guys. Yeah. So, what do you feel if somebody asks you to kind of enable this or enable it and kind of test it? Will you be able to do it on your own? Yes, great. So, I will anyway share the recording of today and both these programs so that in case you have any doubts, etc., you can always refer to the program that I've written, right? So, under advanced microservices topics, we have learned two important things. One is log tracing. That is what we completed today, all the pending phases. And in terms of course, we saw the course enablement, how you can enable, and we have tried a demo program to provide you the clarity on how it works. So, please remember, today also I was supposed to share some e-learning for afternoon. But the way you guys have utilized your time in the afternoon yesterday, yeah, apart from just 4 or 5 of you, handful of you who have at least completed few modules, majority of you have not even bothered to look at it. Yeah. So I am not going to give you any additional learning for today afternoon because you guys have pending things to complete. I want all of you to complete the config server, config client, and API gateway recordings that I've already shared yesterday. Is that okay, all of you? Yeah. So tomorrow, when we come back, I will have another advanced topic that I'll be discussing tomorrow in the morning. And in the afternoon, again, I'm going to give you another set of additional learning for you guys. Yeah. And once this training completes, I will upload the steps that you can follow to submit the Top Gear assignment for my review. So in case you guys have completed microservices assignment, like Shubhadeep has already completed and he's ready to submit, please follow the steps that I'm going to share and accordingly you can submit it. Is that okay, all of you? Yes, great. So thanks. I'll meet you all tomorrow then with another additional topic that we have planned. Yeah. Complete all the e-learnings before you come in for the morning session, please.